Hey everyone, it's Sonia from Blackstone Designs, and today we are making feather stitch coasters. I am using Simply Denim by King Cole. This is a DK weight yarn. I'm also using a G 4.0 millimeter crochet hook, and you'll also need a pair of scissors. I do have a feather stitch tutorial video already right here on YouTube, so if you are unfamiliar with the stitch, you can go ahead and watch that. I will do a quick overview here, but if I'm moving too fast for you, then you can certainly go ahead and watch that video. So for the feather stitch, we have to do a chain of an even amount. So I'm going to do a chain 18. Okay, and then we are going to single crochet back across this chain, working in the back bump only. And that will be the second chain from hook and across. That will leave us with 17 single crochet. Okay, and then for row 2, we're going to chain 1 turn. We will half double crochet in the first stitch, chain 1, skip 1, half double crochet. We will do that all the way across. So chain 1, skip 1, half double crochet in the next, chain 1, skip 1, half double crochet in the next, and you will place a half double crochet in the last single crochet. Okay, and for row 3, this is where we start the feather stitch. So to begin, we will put a half double crochet in that half double crochet on the end, chain 1, and then we will begin the feather stitch. And a quick overview of the feather stitch: we yarn over, we insert our hook into this, or into the chain space and not the chain stitch itself, and then we yarn over and drop a loop. Then we yarn over again and we come down to the single crochet below the chain space, and that's the single crochet that we had skipped. We insert our hook, yarn over, drop a loop. Then we're going to yarn over one more time, move over to this next chain 1 space that's unworked, insert our hook, yarn over, drop a loop. We now have 7 loops on our hook, so we're going to yarn over and draw through all 7 and then chain 1. Then for all subsequent feather stitches, we will yarn over, insert our hook into that chain 1 space that we just finished in, yarn over, insert our hook into the single crochet below this chain 1 space, yarn over, drop a loop, and then yarn over one more time, move over to the next unworked chain space, yarn over, drop a loop, and then yarn over, draw through all 7, chain 1. So work that feather stitch all the way across to the last chain 1 space. And then in this last chain 1 space, we're going to finish with a half of a feather stitch. So we will yarn over, insert a hook in this chain space, yarn over, drop a loop, yarn over, insert a hook into that unworked single crochet below, yarn over, drop a loop, and that gives you 5 loops. You will yarn over, pull through all 5, chain 1, then we're going to half double crochet in that last half double crochet. This is the end of row 3, and row 3 is just a building block row, just like rows 1 and 2. It's to get us started. For row 4, we're going to chain 1 turn, half double crochet in that half double crochet on the end, chain 1, and then we will begin the feather stitches. These feather stitches are worked slightly differently because the row below is a feather stitch row, so the placement is a bit different. So here we will yarn over, we will insert our hook in that unworked chain 1 space, yarn over, drop a loop. But for this part, we're going to yarn over, and then we are going to insert our hook into the chain 1 space below. So for this, you kind of have to move the feather stitch over a little and insert your hook there, yarn over, drop a loop. Then we will yarn over and insert our hook into that chain 1 space between the feather stitches, yarn over, drop a loop, yarn over, pull through all 7. For the next feather stitch and all remaining feather stitches, we're going to yarn over, insert our hook into that same chain 1 space, yarn over, drop a loop, yarn over, insert our hook into the chain 1 space below that now has 2 feather stitches in it from the previous row. So you're kind of working between those, yarn over, drop a loop, then yarn over, insert your hook into this next chain 1 space, yarn over, drop a loop, yarn over, pull through all 7, chain 1. And don't forget your chain 1s between your stitches. We will do that for the remainder of the row. And then we will half double crochet in that last half double crochet. From here, we will repeat row 4 for rows 5 through 16. So we're going to repeat that until we get 16 rows. So the way to count your rows is to count the chain spaces between your feather stitches. So the single crochet row is row 1, and then this chain space is row 2, row 3, row 4. So you just count that up until you have 16. Okay, and then once we have row 16 put on, we're going to continue into the border. And these are just single crochets all the way around. We single crochet in the end of every row down the side, single crochet in the end of every stitch, and chain 1 space across the bottom, end of every row up the other side, and then single crochet in every single crochet and chain 1 space across the top. And then we will join in the corner. Then once we have that border on, we're going to go ahead and add our fringe. So we will start in the corner here, and we will get a length of yarn, fold it in half so we have a loop. We will insert our hook in the stitch from back to front, grab the loop and pull it through, and then we will now have that loop coming out of the back side and the tails are on the front side. We will take those tails and we will tuck them through that loop and pull it, and that will give us fringe. And then once we have our fringe on, we can clip this down to our desired length. Now, I did already have fringe on here, so I have some tails that are cut to my desired length, and I'm going to go ahead and put those back on. From here, I put another fringe right next to this piece. And this is all dependent on how you like the finished look to be. But I added my fringe here, and then from this point, I put one in every other stitch. Okay, and then we're going to have our last piece down here in the corner. And then I can go ahead and trim that piece to match the length of the other ones. And then we will go ahead and we will add fringe to the opposite side. And now you could add a piece in every single crochet down the side. I just prefer it to be more loose and open like that. So find the corner stitch, place your fringe, and now I have one left over from the other side. So this will help me make sure that my sides are even. But you can always measure them out also. And I do have some pre-cut strings here. Remember, when we insert our hook, it's from the back of the project to the front. It's actually not detrimental. You'll still get fringe no matter which way. It just depends on what side you want that loop on. That's over the top of the fringe. Okay, and then we can lay this all out in a nice little row and then just trim across. And there we have it. That's our Feather Stitch Coaster. Now I chose this yarn because I love the finished look of it. It's got this beautiful heathering to it, and it's a cotton, so it just has a nice matte finish. You can use any yarn. And you can also use a thicker weight or a thinner weight yarn and just adjust your beginning chain as long as it's an even number. But I chose to make them this way so they're wider for larger mugs, or if you have to set a dish down, it's big enough for that. So there you go. I hope you love them. Happy crocheting.